Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. All right. You know what? I would like to share with you. We had a great Saturday last week, and yeah, we all eventually recharge our physical energy, replenish our emotional energy, as well as remove our energy blockage. Do I look, so energetic today? I am, right? Okay. So we are so grateful that we have hundreds of people actually join us in this Effortless Wellbeing Conference Season 2, right? So I do hope that you can support me by giving me likes and love, and then help me to share out this Facebook Live. I do believe that the content of the Facebook Live will definitely benefit your friends or even your loved one, and please do help me to share it out. And today, I'll be sharing, my biggest takeaway itself from one of the guest speaker from this conference itself. His name is Skip, okay? So let's get started. So one of the biggest takeaway from the session is that, connect to nature. So Skip mentioned that, every time that you go out and you reconnect your skin back to the nature, you start putting back the electrical charge around each of the cells in your body itself, okay? So you get this force of energy around your body to boost your immune system. It makes you feel good, and surely it has to be a good thing, right? Yeah. So you look at that, the beauty of the nature itself. Yeah, I'm really I love nature. So if some of you may know that I'm a trail runner, so I love running in the trail, and then get exposed to the sun, to the lake. Yeah. So my next bigger takeaway is that he mentioned that we got three engines. Every each of us, we have three engines, which is your mind, body, and spirit. Hold on. Okay, let us come back. Right. So one engine is called body. Yeah, it's putting in the body, it's stuff that create alkalinity. So most of us actually putting in things like sugar, caffeine, processed food that actually create the acidic things in our body itself. Yeah. So the acid itself is going to break down whichever way you look. So it's going to kind of like rust you from inside out. That we have got to make sure that we actually feel our body with in the right way, okay, with the right food itself. Then another engine itself is actually your mind. So you have to got to make sure that you start the first thing as in you need to watch your mind, and then watching your mind in terms of the news that are going in, and link it to your intuition and your own inner guidance of system that come from your spirit or even your soul, okay? So we need to make sure that our spirit, our soul is actually with us, and focus on these three engines itself, okay? So every one of us, we have these three engines, which is mind, body, and spirit. And the next one is that, he came up with this phrase itself that I couldn't agree more. People sacrifice their health in order to get the wealth, okay? But sadly, most of the time, they are going to sacrifice their wealth in order to get the health, okay? So this eventually remind me, one of the story. It's kind of like related to this phrase itself. So are you guys ready to to hear the story itself? I'm going to have a quick story session today. So the story itself was actually about a businessman and also a fisherman. So there was one day, this businessman he met a fisherman, so who was actually rowing a small boat towards the shore because having caught a few big fishes, right? So the businessman was eventually quite impressed and asked the fisherman, "How long does it take you to catch all these fish?" So the fisherman replied, "Oh, just a short while." So then the businessman asked, "Why don't you stay a bit longer so you will get more fish? But the fisherman said, "Well, this is enough to feed my whole family." And then the businessman followed by next question. So what do you do for the rest of your day? Because it's just, quite like, 10 or 11 a.m. in the morning. Then the fisherman eventually finished all the catching. Then the fisherman replied, "Well, I usually wake up very early in the morning. So I go out to the sea and catch some fish. So after that, I go back and play with my kids. And then in the afternoon, I will have a quick nap with my wife, and evening comes. Then I will join my friends in the village for a quick drink, and sometimes we play guitar and sing and dance throughout the night." So the businessman, as I mentioned, the term businessman itself, all he have in his mind is all about money. So the businessman offered to these fishermen, "I'm a PhD in business management. I could help you to become a more successful person. So from now on, you could spend more time catching more fish, and then you can save enough money. And then from there, you can buy a bigger boat, you catch more fish, and then soon you will be able to buy more and more boats. And then you can set up your own company, and following by that, you can create your own production, and as well as processing food and so on, right? So, and from there you can move on, you can move to a city, so where you can set up a HQ to manage other branches itself. So it's like expanding the business. But guess what? The fisherman continues and asks the businessman, "After that, what?" Businessman laughed, and then he said, "You can live just like a king in the house, and when it is right time, you can just go public, get your business listed in the stock exchange, and you will be so wealthy." And the businessman eventually asked, "Yeah, so what is next then?" Then the businessman was saying, "After that, you can finally retire, and then you can move to a houses near the village, and then you can wake up early in the morning, go out to catch some fish, and then after that, come back and play with your kids, and then, accompany your wife as well. At night, you can join your friends and then have some, play guitar, dance, and sing at night." And the fisherman was eventually puzzled. So he asked a businessman, isn't that what I am doing now?" So, well, talking back about this story itself, I would like to, my learning from this story itself is happiness is not about getting what you want all the time. It's about loving what you have and being grateful for it. So with that, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Bye for now.